Perfect. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Let me tell you about a little story of Creatives DAO. First of all, well, Creatives DAO is paving way for future of artistic borderless collaboration. What does that even mean? It's like a little mouthful. And what are we doing, who we are? Let's take you through a little bit of the journey of what Creatives DAO was and where we are and where we're heading. Creatives DAO is an ecosystem DAO of Near protocol, which means we started working with Near about 3 years ago. And we started with a few communities when Near was growing. We started off, we wanted communities to basically come and build on Near, creative communities. And it started with 2 or 3 communities. It moved on and became a big movement. And now we have about 80 creative communities globally which are being represented on Near protocol. We have 54,000 NFTs minted, and these are real artworks. This is not PFPs or JPEGs or monkey images. These are communities which are actually printing their art onto blockchain. We have 6 metaverse spaces built on Near Hub, which is one of our ecosystem metaverse partner. And they basically provide metaverse services for communities to easily create their own metaverse space. And we have partners and communities in over 25 countries. So the journey for Creatives DAO started in 2021, where we basically had nothing but a few communities. It was started with Chloe, who's here. Chloe and Rebecca started this small little organization, small little DAO called CreateBase, which was a part of MintBase, an NFT marketplace on Near. And we wanted to get more creative communities onto our chain. With the beginning of that, what was happening was that there was not a lot of communities that existed on Near, and they slowly started onboarding a lot of other communities one by one. And as Near grew, more communities came to Near, and the council started growing. We eventually became a bigger entity, and we started adding more councils, which means we started adding more people to our first layer of councilship. This was the first version of creative communities, which means that the governance layer was being built. Communities were trying to interact with each other, but there was no mechanism of communities really taking the ownership of governance. We came to V2 and V3, where communities that were a part of Creatives DAO became the councils, which means that when a proposal would come in for funding or for support, the communities that existed in our DAO would help each other to basically approve a proposal or to see whether that community should be a part of Near or not. This was the first time where people basically took charge of who would be a part of the ecosystem. And now we're in the version 4 of Creatives DAO. The version 4 was derived with, it's a metric-based system which allows us to measure value of any proposal that comes in. What that means is we saw that a lot of proposals were coming in which wanted to kind of build on the chain. However, it was very difficult for us to assess what value would that really bring to the chain and whether it should be a part of the collective or not. What we started doing was we started creating a value system. We put out a post where we asked people to tell us what do they think are the values of Creatives DAO. People really chimed in and they started talking about what their values are. We got about 6 words from this huge participation that we received from people, and those 6 words became our value. Those 6 words were decentralization. So that means if a DAO or a community comes in, they need to be decentralized. It cannot be a small group of 3-4 people. The bigger, the better, and that was one of the core tenets. Then we had the value proposition that they would offer to Near. When you come in as a community, what would you really do for Near? How would this really help your community, not just Near, but what would it really do for your community? Third was, how much on-chain data could you produce? If a community is doing something which is not related to on-chain, then is it really something that is adding value to Near and your community? It would add value to your community, but not to Near. So that was one of the factors that we basically wanted. Then there was the DAO growth. How much can your DAO really grow? Is this a project that can really onboard masses, or is it just going to be a small community? That was one of the factors that we would assess from. The team background became very important to understand, are real people coming in, or is it just some Sybil accounts that have created a DAO? And that was one of the factors as well. And the last one was internal community engagement, which means that now we have all these 80 communities and we have our meetings, but it became important for everybody to come and talk and understand where this ecosystem is growing so that one can learn from the other party. Even though we had all this ecosystem, we had a lot of communities talking to each other, building, growing, but we didn't really have anything which would get us officially in a legal space outside. We were just running, we were just doing things within ourselves, and there's no way for us to go legal. So we created a trust instrument based out of Guernsey, which gave us our own entity, and we were legally able to adopt and get in more people from various parts of the world. This basically allowed us to not only just give funding within our community, but to be able to give funding in a very legal manner. So all the documentation, any kind of funding that was going to people, we were able to create proof of where it is going, and communities were legally protected, so nobody could basically come and sue each other. There was some kind of protection for people. There are a few communities which are the North Stars, which are the highlights. Apart from, we cannot really talk about all the communities, but a few communities I'd like to talk about. First one is DAO Records, which is a decentralized Web3. It's a record label, a decentralized record label, which is onboarding communities from all around the world. They've been doing events in Malaysia, focusing a lot in Asian communities. But the founder comes from Canada, and he's also done a lot of activations in the West Side. Then we have Marma J. Marma J Foundation is a non-for-profit association, which is leveraging Web3 for social impact. And they have been creating games. They have 4 pixel games. They've also created a lot of events and onboarding people from Antigua. And they do a lot of meetups, go to a lot of colleges to onboard young creatives onto Near blockchain. We have InaDAO, which is a female-led DAO for artists based out of Brazil, but onboarding women artists from all around the world and doing massive activations and a lot of workshops specifically focusing on women. Then we have Swara DAO, which is an Indonesian DAO, and they're working with the government to bring massive collaborations. They're also working with some really big music events there. And they're onboarding really good artists, releasing music in Indonesia. We have Filipino Artists Guild that is working in Philippines and onboarding a lot of artists, doing a lot of partnerships in Philippines and also across the Asian continent. And then we have Muti DAO, which is based out of Portugal. Muti DAO is basically a physical digital DAO, and they try to do a lot of phygital work in and around Portugal and around Europe as well. Few of the partnerships that we've had, one of the partnership is with Radio 1 India, where we are activating and onboarding communities from a city called Pune, which is one of the biggest tech cities in India. They're onboarding a lot of people from colleges and a lot of people from tech companies. Then we have Music Feast, and Music Feast is one of the biggest players that we have within our ecosystem. They're not very popular within the creatives community, but when you look at their background, they basically are associated with a university where artists are onboarded like Drake and some really popular artists in America. So they leverage their ecosystem to onboard new musicians onto Near. Then we have El Cafe Cartel. These guys basically serve coffees in various places, create a very warm and friendly environment for people to come and talk together, and do massive onboardings in APAC, even in the European region. We also fund hackathons for BOSS. BOSS is basically blockchain operating system built on Near, and what we do with that is, because it's a new operating system, it's just like a base layer on which people can build and create more components and products. BOSS hackathons are very important because it's getting new people to build solutions for our ecosystem, and we try to do as many hackathons and support communities which are doing hackathon so that we can have more tech development. And the last thing is Creatives DAO Planet. Now, one of the issues that we see is that we have a lot of communities all around, which are building in silos. They're building their communities in their places. However, there's no central platform where everybody can come together and interact with each other. So Creatives DAO Planet is going to be that, where all the communities, all this ecosystem can be linked together, and they'll be able to interact with each other. And we'll have a lot of other elements and components and services that will be given to creatives to be able to not only just interact, but be able to collaborate, be able to receive funds in a more transparent and on-chain manner. More about CDAO Planet in a bit. And the tech that we have been using is Sputnik DAO. It's a very fascinating tech because this allowed us to really scale massively. Generally, creating a DAO is looked at as a very difficult process, but Sputnik DAO allowed you to create DAOs in just a few clicks. You can basically have a DAO registered in 5 minutes. And that is the reason why we were able to create so many communities, because communities can now have their on-chain wallets and their DAOs created very, very quickly. We have Mintbase, which is a tech, NFT infrastructure tech that allows you to not just mint NFTs, but also create any kind of NFT infrastructure you want as per your requirement. So you can use base layer of Mintbase and create any kind of marketplace or a simple website and have your wallets integrated there. It's a very flexible sort of NFT infrastructure that we have from Near. Near Hub is one of the projects that allows you to create metaverse spaces very quickly. So we have about 6 metaverse spaces, and in less than a month's time, you have a custom-made NFT market, a custom-made metaverse for your project. And either you can design it by yourself, or you can just contact the Near Hub team for them to design it for you. But it happens very seamlessly, and it's very customized. It's not like crypto voxels where you have fixed structures. This is complete freedom for you to basically be able to create whatever you want. We have KeyPom, which allows you to give it allows you to give a lot of links and onboard via multiple link creation. You can use this for NFT drops. You can use this for creation of wallets. And it's a very versatile sort of a link drop system that we have. And the last one is ShardDog, which allows you to create wallets without any sort of requirement of your seed phrase. You can just use you can create a non-custodial wallet through ShardDog, or get an NFT airdrop and create a wallet through ShardDog. So these are the tech that we have been using to scale our communities. The products that we're building, first product is, the biggest one is CDAO Planet, of course. But under CDAO Planet, there are a few things that we have. One is Minsta. Minsta is which minting and Instagram collaboration. It's Minsta. We also have a link that we'll share with you guys very quickly. You can just download that, copy that link, and start uploading pictures. And we've been doing a lot of activation through Minsta in this event. So you can just open that link, click a photograph, and it's minted on-chain very quickly. Earlier, we had this version where it was gamified a little. So when you click a picture, you would basically, the next person who clicks another picture gets the last picture in their wallet. But now we have another fork where you're just able to click picture and have it on chain. And you can share it, but it's still under development. We're adding more features to it to make it more user-friendly. And then we have CDAO Passport, which shows different communities where you can just click on a link and get to understand which community has which NFT, and you can get onboarded very quickly through CDAO Passport. Now, one of the biggest things that we have is Creators DAO Planet, which will be coming very soon, and it's under development. And under that, we have 2 products. One is Drops Fund. Drops Fund is a way for communities to be able to vote for any kind of art that is being presented. So we can have monthly competitions for artists where a bounty can be put up for a few amount, and people or communities can come together and vote for which art do they like. So we can have competitions like monthly art or artist of the month, and communities can decide which artist do they really want. The majority of the consensus, whichever art gets the majority consensus will get the bounty. Then we have Drops Flow, which will allow you to quickly create WordPress-like boss pages. You can have your you can create basically your web pages on Boss, which is a technology on Near, very quickly through Drops Flow, which means you can have a customized web page, just like what WordPress does for you to create your websites. So the main challenges that we face as a community after 2 years is that we're still depending on one source of funding. We've been with Near, and now this community has grown to a very big size of community. However, we're just associated with one organization. Now, it's a situation where a community, an organization or a chain funded us, and we grew on that chain, but now we've become an entity of our own. And the problem that we're facing is that if we have to grow as an entity and not be dependent on just one organization to fund, we basically need to go on to other chains, or we need to find sources of other funding, or to find sources to become more self-sustainable. And that's one of the problems that we're facing right now, but we're still working on more cross-chain collaborations. The other thing is that we don't have any platform presence. We have various communities, but we don't have a single platform where all these communities can come together. And CDAO Planet is basically solving those problems. Then the third problem is onboarding hurdles. It's very difficult for people to be onboarded very quickly, and then once they come in, what do they do? Where do they go? And there are so many communities. How do they interact with those communities? And again, CDAO Planet will be solving this problem because you will be able to interact with all these communities in one page. We have a shortage of developer for Creatives DAO community because we're developing a lot of things creatively. However, when we have to develop, let's say, the tech side, we always have to source out developers from various communities. And it becomes a bit of a situation where if a person is developing their community, they have to then start looking out for developers, and they can't focus on whatever their work is. So we're trying to sort that out by getting a developer community, a focused developers group only focused on Creatives DAO. And then we have some tech integration challenges, which are also going to be fixed with the builders group that we're trying to bring together. So how exactly is Creatives DAO really paving the future for artistic collaboration? Well, what we're doing is we're trying to now diversify our financial avenues. What we're doing is we're trying to reach out to various blockchains, to various publicly listed companies to get a part of their CSR funding. And we're also trying to reach out to investors to invest in various projects that have reached a stage where their product or their service can essentially be converted, can basically be bought for equity or invested for equity. We're looking at CDAO Planet, which is going to be one of our main focus, where everything would be on one platform, and all the activity that we've been doing will be able to shown on one page. And public goods builder group, which will solve the problem of all the people who are basically lacking tech support. This builder group is going to be focused on just providing tech support to various communities. And venture funding for communities that are now ready for getting their product out to the market. So these are the few ways that we're trying to essentially take this thing forward and go more into the market. Because till now, we've just been building internally, and I think now is the time where we can basically go out and start looking for more adoption from outside and not just near ecosystem. So our vision is guided by the principle of collaborative growth. And Creatives DAO is setting the stage for an integrated global network of creative communities. We're on a quest to bolster tech infrastructure, funding pivotal public services, and pave the way for our future projects to partner with visionary VCs. This is what we're aiming at, and we'll be coming out with a few more. When we come out with our CDAO Planet, we will have more clarity of, people will have more clarity of how we have to basically move forward. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free. Okay. Any questions from anyone? If you're not in Creatives DAO. So there are various ways. Drops Fund, which is a tech in itself, is going to be a part of CDAO Planet. So let's say you're an artist which is not a part of Creatives DAO, building on some other chain. You can request for a bounty to be opened under a particular theme. Let's say you're a AI-based artist, you're creating videos through AI. You can open a bounty for 10-minute AI-based movie or a 5-minute AI-based movie, best AI-based movie. Once you open that proposal, people can start submitting their submissions, and community can vote by the end of the month as to which movie do they like the best. And that's how anybody who's not a part of the ecosystem can also come in. But there are various ways. This is not the only way. If you want to be a part of CDAO Planet, you can definitely request to join just by opening a DAO and becoming a part of NEAR. And that's how you can also join Creatives DAO Planet. Yeah. So there are various ways. These are only just 2 ways that you can basically do. There are also partnerships that we do. So let's say you're a bigger entity, which has either a community or has some kind of leverage through branding that we can use for ourselves. You can reach out to us and we can see what partnership or what collaboration we can essentially have. And that will, of course, be leveraged into Creatives DAO Planet. Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you. Thank you so much.